It's a large delegate.
Yeah.
Don't we have talented kids?
We have talented kids. Now, just for a few minutes, let me tell you a little bit about the Easter story. No, I'm not talking about the wolves and the sheep.
Bennett, I said,
I know you did.
show,
Up
show.
here, you see a picture of, who is it?
Jesus.
Jesus. There's also a statue of him there. And what does he have on his shoulder?
A lamb.
Can you tell?
A lamb. A lamb.
It's a sheep.
He's a shepherd.
He's a shepherd. And that they called him the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd. Because all of the people that love Jesus are his sheep. And he takes care of them like a good shepherd. Now, we have a lot of names for God, don't we? Krishna, what?
Jesus.
Shiva, what?
Rama.
Rama.
Vishnu.
So we just go on counting for a long time. Many names for God. Now, the Christians, the boys and girls that are in your school that are Christians, they have one main name for God. And what is that name? It's Jesus. And they called Jesus when he was alive, Jesus the Christ. And that's where the name Christian comes from, is from Christ. The people who loved and followed Jesus the Christ. So they were Christians. It comes from that word Christ. Christian.
Christ.
Yes. All right. So was that Jesus came very much like Lord Krishna came, and all the stories we've read about Lord Krishna. Jesus, there are stories about Jesus also. And when Jesus grew up to be a big man, he taught people to love each other. That was the main thing that he was saying. Love one another. That's what Jesus said. Love one another. That's what we say, right? That's what Shanti Loka means. Peace, love. You have to have love in your heart to have peace. So when Jesus was preaching these things about loving, you have to love everybody and so forth, the people, some of the people who were authorities, you know what authorities are, like the police officers and the judges and the people like that, and the priests that were in the temple and so forth, they didn't like what Jesus was preaching, because he was preaching that we ought to love everybody, and they wanted mainly for you to come in and pay your taxes, give your money. Don't give us all this stuff about love. We want the money. And so Jesus was telling people that's not the way it ought to be. And so they got to be a big, they put out a warrant for his arrest. Arrest this man, because he's teaching bad things to the people.
No.
Well, we know he's not, but they thought he was. And so they brought him in, they arrested him and brought him in, and they decided that they needed to get rid of him because he was causing too much trouble. And so they executed him. You know what execute means? What?
It's like to kill someone.
It's very much like kill somebody, yeah. You execute somebody.
Assassin someone or something.
And so they said, we can get rid of this guy by killing him. Now, they didn't have lethal injections. You've heard of that? Lethal injection?
Yeah.
They also didn't have electric chairs. You ever heard of an electric chair?
I have.
And they didn't even do what they called firing squad.
Oh.
A lot of ways to get rid of people.
I have.
What they had was a strange, strange way of killing people. They crucified. Now, crucified means that you have a cross and you put these people up on this cross like this. It is a cross. They call it a cross because they made a cross, and they big cross, and they take people and they just nailed them up on there. Wow. How would you like that for an execution? Wouldn't you rather have a lethal injection than?
Yeah.
Anyway, they killed Jesus. Now, as the story goes, it was right at the Sabbath day. This all happened on Friday, and Saturday was called their Sabbath. So they needed to do something with this body. Jesus died. Yeah, what do you got?
I know what they did with it.
What'd they do with
They
it?
put it in this tomb and then sealed it up with this kind of wall.
Wow, you've heard
Big
this
rock.
story before.
Yeah.
That's what they did. There was a young lawyer by the name of Joseph of Arimathea or something like that.
I heard that too.
Who had yeah, you heard that story. And he had a tomb or a place where you could be buried, a cave, like a cave in the earth there. And so he asked them, the priests who were against him, his enemies, if they could take his body after he died. And so they put his body in that tomb. It's called a tomb. It's like
It's like a tomb that mummies build.
okay, yeah, like they put mummies in Egypt. What did they do with the daddies? That's something different. Okay. So Jesus was in this tomb Sunday, Friday night. They killed him Friday night, so he's there Saturday, all day Friday, they counted Friday, Saturday, and then the third day was Sunday. Now that was the first day of the week, right?
Yeah, and I
Sunday.
know something.
So what happened on Sunday morning?
He came back to life.
Wow. What?
Mary Magdalene saw him but didn't recognize him. So then she recognized him and
Okay,
told
some
everyone else.
of the ladies that were in that group, Jesus's group, you know, like we have a group, our family that meets here to worship. He had a group like that, and the ladies on Sunday morning went down to check on him in the tomb. And did you tell me that they had a rock?
Yeah,
A
that rock.
big
yeah.
boulder across the entrance? That was rolled away, and inside the tomb was empty.
Not